Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, watching the stars drift past the viewport. His ship carried medical supplies and food to the farming colony on Haven's Rest. A routine run he had made dozens of times before. The cargo hold was full of grain seeds from Earth and medicine for the children living on the distant world. Lisa Parker sat at her navigation station, checking the star charts for the third time that day. She always double-checked everything, because space travel was dangerous, even on peaceful trade routes. Tony Richards worked in the engine room, keeping the faster-than-light drive running smooth and steady. The three of them had been working together for 5 years, moving supplies between human colonies. Haven's Rest was one of 17 human settlements spread across nearby star systems. 3 million people lived there, growing food for other colonies and raising families under the light of an orange star. Jake remembered his first visit to the planet when it was just a few prefab buildings and hopeful settlers. Now it had cities and schools and parks where children played. The human colonies had been peaceful for over a century. Pirates sometimes attacked cargo ships, but the military handled them easily. Most people believed humans were alone in the galaxy. The few scientists who thought alien life might exist somewhere among the billions of stars were considered dreamers. Admiral Karen Fletcher commanded the small defense fleet that protected the outer colonies. Her flagship Defender carried only basic weapons meant for fighting pirates and asteroid clearing. She had 12 ships under her command, enough to handle any human criminal, but nothing more serious. The attack began without warning, while Jake's ship was still 2 days from Haven's Rest. Admiral Fletcher was conducting routine patrol exercises when her sensors detected massive energy signatures appearing from hyperspace. Dozens of alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel around Haven's Rest, like wolves surrounding prey. The alien vessels were unlike anything humans had ever built. They looked like twisted metal thorns covered in sharp edges and glowing weapon ports. Each ship was 3 times larger than the biggest human battleship and moved with impossible grace through space. Admiral Fletcher tried to establish communication with the unknown ships, but received no response. She ordered her small fleet to intercept course while broadcasting emergency warnings to all nearby human vessels. Her weapons officer reported that the alien ships were charging what appeared to be extremely powerful energy weapons. The first plasma blast turned the main city on Haven's Rest into a crater of melted glass. The beam was so hot it could be seen from orbit as it carved through buildings and streets like a knife through paper. More beams followed, each one destroying another population center with surgical precision. Jake watched the attack through his ship's long-range sensors, while Lisa frantically tried to establish communication with the colony. The readings showed heat signatures that meant entire cities were burning. Tony ran to the bridge with tears in his eyes after hearing the emergency broadcasts from the planet's surface. On the planet below, Colony Administrator Greg Walsh was in his office when the first beam struck. The building shook and all the lights went out. He ran to the window and saw a pillar of fire rising from where the main settlement used to be. His radio crackled with panicked voices reporting attacks across the planet. Marine Sergeant Amy Collins was training new recruits at the small military base when the alien fighters appeared overhead. The craft moved faster than anything she had ever seen, diving and climbing through the atmosphere while firing streams of energy that melted everything they touched. She ordered her Marines to the underground bunkers while she tried to coordinate a defense. Admiral Fletcher's fleet arrived too late to save the colony, but just in time to witness the final phase of the attack. The alien ships deployed swarms of fighter craft that swept across the planet's surface like a cloud of metal locusts. Every building, every farm, every sign of human life was systematically destroyed. The few human ships that tried to escape were hunted down and destroyed with casual efficiency. The aliens seemed to view the fleeing vessels as target practice rather than desperate refugees. Only a handful of damaged ships managed to reach hyperspace with survivors aboard. Greg Walsh barely escaped in a maintenance pod with 50 other colonists. Amy Collins fought a running battle through the burning streets before reaching a damaged transport ship. They launched into space while the planet burned beneath them, carrying footage of the massacre and desperate warnings for Earth. The alien fleet completed its work in less than 6 hours. Haven's Rest went from a thriving world with 3 million people to a dead rock covered in cooling glass. The attackers then vanished into hyperspace as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving no trace except the destroyed planet behind them. Jake's ship received the survivor transmissions while still traveling toward what had been Haven's Rest. The messages contained horrifying video footage of the attack and desperate pleas for help. Lisa broke down crying when she saw images of the children's park where she had played during their last visit. Now nothing but a smoking crater. The survivors' ships limped toward Earth carrying the terrible news. President Claire Bennett received the first reports in the middle of the night and immediately called an emergency session of the planetary government. The video evidence was undeniable. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and their new neighbors considered them enemies. Admiral Daniel Hayes, the highest-ranking military officer on Earth, was summoned to the emergency meeting. He reviewed the tactical data with growing horror, realizing that the human military was completely unprepared for this kind of threat. The attacking ships used weapons and technology far beyond anything humans possessed. The president declared a state of emergency and gave Admiral Hayes unlimited authority to prepare Earth's defenses. Every available resource would be devoted to military production, and every citizen would contribute to the war effort. The age of peaceful expansion was over. News of the attack spread across all human colonies within days. Panic and grief mixed with rage as people learned that an entire world had been murdered without provocation. Memorial services were held on every human world, while factories began converting to weapons production. The few survivors from Haven's Rest became the most important people in human space. Their eyewitness accounts and recorded footage provided the only intelligence about the enemy. Military analysts studied every frame of video, trying to understand alien tactics and weaknesses. Jake Morrison volunteered for military service, along with thousands of other civilian pilots. His cargo ship would be converted to carry weapons and sensors instead of medical supplies. Lisa and Tony volunteered as well, knowing their skills would be needed in the coming war. The galaxy had changed forever in the span of 6 hours. Humanity discovered they were not alone among the stars, but their new neighbors had already decided that humans deserved to die. The survivors of Haven's Rest brought a simple message back to Earth: prepare for war, or prepare to be extinct. Earth transformed overnight from a peaceful world into a massive war machine. Every shipyard worked around the clock building warships, while factories that once made consumer goods now produced weapons and armor. The night sky glowed with the light of orbital construction platforms, welding together the frames of humanity's first real battle fleet. Admiral Daniel Hayes established the emergency fleet command in an underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Banks of computers and communication equipment linked him to every human colony and military installation. He had been given complete authority to mobilize every resource on every human world for the coming war. Dr. Helen Ross led a team of scientists at the secret research facility in Nevada, working to understand the alien technology recovered from Haven's Rest. The wreckage was limited, but provided crucial insights into how the enemy weapons worked. She discovered that while alien technology was more advanced, human engineering had unique advantages that could be exploited. Working alongside engineer Marcus Cole and computer specialist Nina Grant, Dr. Ross began developing new weapon systems that combined human and alien principles. Their first breakthrough came when they successfully modified a human railgun to use an alien power core, increasing its destructive power by 300%. The survivors from Haven's Rest became invaluable sources of intelligence about the enemy. Greg Walsh worked with military strategists to analyze alien attack patterns and tactics. His administrative mind proved excellent at understanding how the aliens organized their forces and selected their targets. Amy Collins promoted 2 major established training programs for the new Marine units being formed across human space. Her first-hand experience fighting the aliens made her the most qualified person to teach others how to survive against superior technology. She worked 18 hours a day, turning civilian volunteers into soldiers. Scout ships under Captain Rick Davis's command searched the nearby star systems for signs of alien activity. What they discovered was terrifying. The enemy was already building forward bases in systems close to major human colonies. The aliens were preparing for a full-scale invasion of human space. The intelligence, gathered by Davis's scouts, revealed that humanity was facing the Zephyrian Empire, a civilization that had been expanding across the galaxy for centuries. They consumed other species like a plague, leaving empty worlds behind them. Humanity was simply their next target in a long list of extinct civilizations. Admiral Karen Fletcher, promoted to Strategic Command after surviving the Haven's Rest disaster, worked with Hayes to develop humanity's defense strategy. Traditional fleet tactics would be suicide against superior alien technology. Instead, they would use humanity's greatest advantages, industrial capacity, and desperate determination. Every human settlement was turned into a fortress with hidden weapons and underground bunkers. Civilian ships were converted into warships, carrying whatever weapons could be mounted on their hulls. Even cargo vessels like Jake Morrison's New Horizon received military modifications and weapons systems. Jake found himself commanding the destroyer Iron Will, one of the first warships built specifically to fight the aliens. His crew included Lisa as his navigator and Tony as chief engineer, along with 50 other former civilians who had volunteered for military service. None of them had formal military training, but they learned quickly. The Iron Will carried Dr. Ross's experimental weapons, including modified railguns, missile systems guided by Nina Grant's advanced computer programs, and armor plating made from alien materials. The ship was designed for hit-and-run attacks rather than direct confrontation with larger alien vessels. Other civilian captains received similar commands throughout human space. Susan Barnes took control of the destroyer Relentless, while Pete Johnson commanded Stormfront. Each ship represented humanity's growing ability to fight back against their alien enemies. Dr. Ross's research team made another breakthrough when they discovered that human computer systems could be modified to interfect alien networks. Marcus Cole developed a virus program that could spread through alien communication systems and disrupt their coordination during battle. The virus required direct contact with alien computer systems to be effective, which meant marine boarding. Parties would need to get inside enemy ships during combat. Major Amy Collins began training special infiltration teams for these dangerous missions. Nina Grant's work on artificial intelligence systems gave human ships significant advantages in space combat. Her programs could coordinate missile swarms and defensive systems faster than human operators, allowing smaller human ships to compete with larger alien vessels. President Claire Bennett faced the enormous task of organizing the war effort across 17 different human worlds. Resources had to be allocated efficiently while maintaining civilian morale during the greatest crisis in human history. She established war production quotas that pushed every colony to its absolute limits. The first new warships began rolling out of the shipyards 6 months after the Haven's Rest attack. These vessels incorporated every lesson learned from studying alien technology and survivor accounts. They were faster, more heavily armed, and better protected than any previous human spacecraft. Admiral Hayes organized the new fleet into battle groups designed for different missions. Heavy battleships would engage alien capital ships, while destroyers like the Iron Will would conduct raids against enemy supply lines. Fighter squadrons would protect larger ships and attack alien ground installations. Intelligence reports from Captain Davis's scouts indicated that the main alien invasion fleet was still months away from human space. This gave humanity precious time to build defenses and train crews. But it also meant the aliens were taking their time to ensure victory. The psychological impact of the Haven's Rest massacre drove recruitment beyond all expectations. Millions of civilians volunteered for military service while others worked in factories and shipyards. Humanity had never been so united in common purpose. Training facilities were established on every human world to prepare new soldiers and spacers for combat. Former merchant captains learned fleet tactics, while factory workers learned to operate weapon systems. The entire human species was becoming an army. Dr. Ross's team successfully reverse-engineered alien plasma weapons and began installing them on human ships. The weapons required enormous amounts of power, but could penetrate alien shields more effectively than conventional human armaments. Major Collins completed training for the first Marine infiltration teams, just as the new warships finished their shakedown cruises. These Marines were equipped with alien technology and trained for zero-gravity combat inside enemy vessels. Their mission would be to disable alien ships from within during major battles. The conversion of human civilization from peaceful expansion to total war was completed in less than a year. Every resource, every person, every ship was dedicated to the coming conflict. Humanity had become something new, a species united by the need to survive against extinction. Admiral Fletcher reviewed the final preparations from her new flagship Determination, a battleship carrying the most advanced weapons humanity could build. The ship represented everything humans had learned about fighting aliens and everything they hoped to become. As the human battle fleet assembled in deep space, word came from the outer colonies that alien scout ships had been detected, approaching human territory. The enemy was finally moving, and humanity would soon discover if their desperate preparations were enough to survive. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Iron Will watching hundreds of human warships form up around the massive battleships. Each vessel carried the hopes of an entire species and the dreams of those who died at Haven's Rest. The peaceful age was ending, but humanity would not go quietly into the darkness. The alarm bells in Red Rock Station's command center woke everyone from their sleep at 3 in the morning. The mining colony orbited a dead planet rich in rare metals that human industry desperately needed for the war effort. 15,000 miners and their families lived on the station, extracting materials for weapons and ship construction. Admiral Fletcher's tactical command received the alert within minutes of the alien fleet dropping out of hyperspace. 47 Zephyrian warships appeared around Red Rock Station like sharks smelling blood in the water. This time humanity was ready. Admiral Hayes had positioned Defense Fleet Charlie in the asteroid belt near the mining station. 28 human warships under Admiral Fletcher's direct command waited behind the largest asteroids while converted. Civilian vessels provided support from hidden positions throughout the system. Captain Morrison's Iron Will led a squadron of 6 destroyers positioned near the main shipping lane between Red Rock Station and the asteroid belt. His crew had been training for this moment for 8 months, running combat drills until they could operate their weapons systems in their sleep. The Zephyrian ships moved with the same casual confidence they had shown at Haven's Rest. Their plasma weapons began charging while fighter swarms deployed from the larger vessels. The aliens clearly expected another easy massacre of helpless humans. Admiral Fletcher waited until the enemy fleet committed to their attack formation before giving the order to engage. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids and activated weapon systems that had never been tested in real combat. The first shots would determine whether humanity's preparations were worth anything. The Iron Will's modified railguns fired first, sending depleted uranium slugs accelerated to 15% of light speed toward the nearest alien cruiser. The projectiles punched through the enemy ship's shields like they were made of paper and tore massive holes in its hull. Captain Susan Barnes in the Relentless targeted the alien fighter swarms with Nina Grant's new missile systems. Hundreds of small warheads detonated among the enemy fighters, each one guided by artificial intelligence that could track and engage multiple targets simultaneously. The alien fleet reacted with surprise and anger to humanity's improved weapons. Their plasma beams reached out toward human ships but found targets that could dodge and weave instead of sitting helpless in space. The human vessels had been designed for mobility rather than heavy armor. Major Amy Collins led the first combat deployment of her Marine infiltration teams. Her assault shuttle approached a damaged alien destroyer while the main battle raged. Around them, the Marines wore powered armor, reverse-engineered from alien technology and carried weapons that could breach alien hull materials. Dr. Ross watched the battle from the command center on Earth, monitoring the performance of every experimental weapon system her team had developed. The modified railguns were performing better than expected, while the combination of human and alien technologies proved deadly against enemy shields. Captain Pete Johnson in Stormfront discovered that human ships could use the asteroids as cover, in ways the aliens had not anticipated. His destroyer ducked between floating rocks, while firing missiles at enemy vessels that couldn't maneuver as effectively in the tight spaces. The tide of battle began to turn when Major Collins's Marines successfully boarded the alien destroyer. Marcus Cole's computer virus spread through the enemy ship's systems within minutes of the boarding, causing weapon failures and navigation problems throughout the alien vessel. Tony Richards in the Iron Will's engine room pushed their faster-than-light drive to its absolute limits, allowing Captain Morrison to jump his squadron behind the main alien battle line. The destroyers appeared where the enemy least expected them, and opened fire on the command ship's unprotected rear sections. Admiral Fletcher coordinated the battle from her flagship Determination, using real-time intelligence from the Marine boarding parties to target alien command vessels. The information provided by Collins's teams revealed weaknesses in alien ship design that human weapons could exploit. The computer virus proved more effective than anyone had dared hope. Infected alien ships began firing on each other as their targeting systems malfunctioned. Some enemy vessels lost life support, while others suffered catastrophic engine failures that left them drifting helpless in space. Lisa Parker's navigation skills kept the Iron Will alive during the chaotic battle, plotting course corrections that avoided alien plasma beams by mere meters. Her ability to predict enemy movements based on their previous attack patterns gave Morrison's squadron crucial advantages. Captain Rick Davis led a squadron of scout ships in hit-and-run attacks against alien supply vessels. His ships were too small and fast for the enemy's main weapons to track effectively, allowing them to destroy several alien support ships. Before vanishing back into the asteroid field, the breakthrough moment came when the Marines reached the alien command ship's central computer core. Marcus Cole's virus infected the enemy fleet's communication network, spreading chaos and confusion throughout their formation. Alien ships began retreating in disorder. For the first time since Haven's Rest, a Zephyrian attack had been not just repelled, but completely defeated. 12 alien ships were destroyed, while the rest fled in panic, leaving behind damaged vessels and valuable prisoners. The human fleet had lost only 3 ships in the engagement. The victory at Red Rock Station proved that humanity could fight back against superior alien technology. News of the battle spread throughout human space within hours, raising morale and inspiring new volunteers for the military. The impossible had become possible. Admiral Hayes reviewed the tactical reports with satisfaction mixed with grim realization. The battle had been won through preparation, courage, and new technology. But the intelligence gathered from captured aliens revealed a terrifying truth about what humanity still faced. The attack on Red Rock Station had been merely a reconnaissance mission to test human defenses. The main Zephyrian invasion fleet numbered over 3,000 ships and was still months away from human territory. The aliens had been probing for weaknesses, Dr. Ross analyzed the wreckage and captured alien technology from the battle, discovering new insights that could improve human weapons even further. The enemy used quantum computers that processed information faster than anything humans had built, but they were vulnerable to properly designed viruses. Major Collins interrogated the captured alien prisoners with the help of translation programs developed by Nina Grant's team. The aliens revealed details about their empire's structure and military doctrine that would prove invaluable in future battles. The prisoners spoke of War Marshal Vexkar, the Zephyrian commander leading the invasion of human space. They described him as one of their most successful military leaders, responsible for the extinction of dozens of other species. He would not underestimate humanity again. President Bennett addressed the human colonies following the victory, acknowledging the bravery of the defenders while warning that greater challenges lay ahead. The war was far from over, and humanity would need to remain united and determined to survive. Admiral Fletcher began planning humanity's next moves based on intelligence gathered from the battle and prisoner interrogations. Defensive victories would not be enough to win the war. Humanity needed to take the offensive before the main alien fleet arrived. The success at Red Rock Station marked the end of humanity's defensive phase and the beginning of their transformation into an aggressive military force. The species that had once believed they were alone in the universe now prepared to carry war to their enemies among the stars. Captain Morrison stood on the bridge of the Iron Will, watching salvage crews recover alien technology from the battlefield. Each piece of wreckage would be studied and reverse-engineered to make human ships more deadly. The hunt for the Zephyrian Empire was about to begin. The battle had taught humanity that they could win against impossible odds, but it had also revealed the true scale of the threat they faced. 3,000 alien ships were approaching human space with the intention of completing what began at Haven's Rest, the total extinction of the human species. Admiral Fletcher stood before the holographic display, showing the locations of known Zephyrian bases throughout nearby star systems. Battlegroup Alpha consisted of 50 human warships, including the flagship Determination and Captain Morrison's Iron Will. Their mission was to destroy enemy forward bases before the main alien invasion fleet arrived. The intelligence gathered from captured prisoners at Red Rock Station had revealed a network of alien supply depots and staging areas scattered across a dozen star systems. Each base supported the coming invasion by stockpiling weapons, fuel, and reinforcements for War Marshal Vexkar's fleet. Dr. Ross had equipped the human ships with improved stealth systems that could hide their heat signatures and electromagnetic emissions from alien sensors. The technology was experimental and untested in deep space operations, but it gave humanity their only chance of striking enemy bases without being detected. Captain Rick Davis commanded the scout cruiser Farsight, leading reconnaissance missions ahead of the main fleet. His ship carried advanced sensors and communication equipment that could gather intelligence on enemy positions while remaining hidden in the void between star systems. The first target was a Zephyrian supply depot in the Wolf system, 47 light-years from Earth. The base orbited a gas giant and contained enough weapons and ammunition to outfit an entire alien battle fleet. Its destruction would significantly delay the invasion preparations. Major Amy Collins had been promoted again, and now commanded 300 Marines equipped with the latest alien technology. Her teams trained constantly for boarding operations and ground assaults against heavily defended enemy positions. Each Marine knew they might not survive their missions. The journey to Wolf system took 2 weeks, traveling through hyperspace in complete communication silence. Admiral Fletcher's fleet moved like ghosts through the darkness, avoiding all known shipping lanes and alien patrol routes. Discovery would mean certain destruction. Captain Morrison's crew had grown into experienced warriors during the months of training and preparation. Lisa Parker could navigate through asteroid fields and nebulae that would challenge most military pilots. while Tony Richards kept their modified engines running at peak efficiency during extended operations. Marcus Cole had refined his computer virus programs based on data recovered from the Red Rock battle. The new versions could spread faster through alien networks and cause more devastating system failures. Nina Grant's artificial intelligence programs coordinated the virus deployment with surgical precision. The attack on the Wolf system base began with Captain Davis's scouts identifying weak points in the alien defenses. The depot was protected by 12 warships and an array of orbital weapons platforms. But the defenders were not expecting a human assault force. Admiral Fletcher divided her fleet into 3 attack groups that approached the target from different directions. The Iron Will led a squadron of destroyers against the alien patrol ships, while heavy cruisers engaged the orbital defense platforms. Marine assault shuttles prepared to board the main facility. The battle erupted without warning as human ships dropped out of hyperspace around the gas giant. Stealth systems allowed the first wave of attackers to reach effective weapons range. Before the aliens could respond, modified railguns and plasma weapons tore into surprised enemy vessels. Captain Susan Barnes and the relentless coordinated missile strikes against the alien weapons platforms, while Pete Johnson's Stormfront provided covering fire for the marine assault shuttles. The human ships moved with precision and coordination that caught the defenders completely off guard. Major Collins's Marines fought their way through the alien base, corridor by corridor, using their powered armor and advanced weapons to overcome superior numbers. The virus programs disrupted alien communications and life support systems, creating chaos that the Marines exploited ruthlessly. The depot's destruction created a massive explosion visible from the outer planets of the Wolf system. Stockpiled alien weapons and fuel created a fireball that consumed the entire facility and the gas giant's moon. The Zephyrian supply network had suffered its first major blow. Intelligence gathered from the destroyed base revealed the locations of 3 more supply depots and the route the main invasion fleet would take to reach human space. Admiral Fletcher immediately began planning strikes against these new targets while her fleet withdrew to deep space. The second target was a fortified base in the Vega system that served as a major staging area for Zephyrian military operations. This facility was much more heavily defended with over 30 warships and thousands of alien personnel. The attack would require different tactics. Captain Morrison suggested using asteroids as weapons by accelerating them to high velocity and sending them crashing into the enemy base. Tony Richards calculated that the Iron Will's modified engines could push large rocks fast enough to penetrate any known alien defenses. Dr. Ross provided technical support from Earth through encrypted communication bursts, helping solve engineering problems that arose during the extended campaign. Her team continued developing new weapons and defensive systems based on battlefield reports from the fleet. The assault on Vega system demonstrated humanity's growing skill in space warfare. Human ships used the local asteroid belt as cover, while accelerating massive rocks toward the alien base. The improvised weapons struck with the force of nuclear explosions. Major Collins led ground assault teams against the surviving sections of the enemy base, fighting through alien defensive positions that had been designed to withstand conventional attacks. The Marines captured valuable intelligence about the main invasion fleet's schedule and composition. War Marshal Dexcar responded to the human attacks by deploying hunter-killer groups to track down Admiral Fletcher's fleet. The alien commander proved to be as cunning as the prisoners had warned, adapting quickly to human tactics and developing countermeasures. The campaign's third major battle occurred in the Proxima Centauri system where the Zephyrians had established their most important forward base. The facility controlled supply lines throughout the region and served as the primary staging area for the invasion fleet's advance. Elements Admiral Fletcher's battle group faced overwhelming odds in the Proxima system. Over 100 alien ships defended the base, along with orbital fortresses and minefields that made direct assault impossible. The human fleet would need to sacrifice everything for victory. Captain Davis's scouts had identified the base's critical weakness, a massive fuel storage complex that supplied the entire alien operation. Destroying it would cripple Zephyrian operations throughout the region. But the target was protected by multiple defensive layers. The plan required Captain Morrison to lead a suicide squadron directly into the heart of the enemy base, while Dr. Ross remotely detonated experimental weapons that would trigger a chain reaction in the fuel storage facilities. The explosion would destroy both human and alien forces. Morrison's volunteers included the crews of 12 destroyers who knew they would not survive the mission. Lisa Parker and Tony Richards insisted on staying with their captain despite being offered transfers to safer ships. Their loyalty exemplified the spirit that drove humanity's war effort. The final assault on Proxima Centauri became the largest space battle in human history. Admiral Fletcher's remaining ships engaged the alien fleet in desperate combat, while Morrison's squadron fought through the defensive perimeter toward their target. The Iron Will and her sister ships took massive damage as they penetrated the alien defenses. Hull breaches and system failures reduced the squadron to half strength before they reached the fuel storage complex. Morrison ordered the survivors to ram their ships into the target. Dr. Ross triggered her experimental weapons from Earth as the human ships crashed into the Zephyrian fuel depot. The resulting explosion created an artificial star that consumed the entire alien base and most of the defending fleet. The strategic victory came at an enormous cost in human lives. The destruction of the Proxima base eliminated a third of the enemy's forward supply capacity and captured intelligence that revealed the main invasion fleet's exact route and timing. War Marshal Vexcar's forces would arrive weakened and off schedule. Admiral Fletcher's surviving ships limped back toward human space carrying the news of their costly victory. The long hunt had successfully disrupted alien preparations for the invasion, but the price paid in ships and lives weighed heavily on everyone who survived. President Bennett received reports of the campaign's success, along with casualty lists that included some of humanity's best military leaders. The victory had proven that humans could take the offensive against superior enemies, but it had also revealed the terrible cost of such operations. The intelligence captured during the campaign provided crucial information about the main Zephyrian invasion fleet. 3,000 alien ships were approaching human space under War Marshal Vexcar as command, but they no longer had the forward bases needed to support extended operations. Captain Morrison's sacrifice at Proxima Centauri became a symbol of human determination throughout the colonies. His willingness to die for victory inspired a new generation of volunteers who understood that survival required the ultimate sacrifice from ordinary people. The human armada assembled in deep space beyond Pluto represented everything humanity had learned about war and survival. Admiral Hayes had spent 18 months building the largest space fleet in human history, incorporating captured alien technology and the hard-won lessons from every previous battle. 1,500 warships formed up in perfect formation around the massive super dreadnought Unbreakable. Admiral Fletcher commanded from the bridge of the flagship, while Captain Morrison, promoted to admiral after his heroic survival at Proxima Centauri, led the destroyer screen from his new command ship Last Stand. The fleet included veterans from every major battle of the war. Captain Susan Barnes commanded a heavy cruiser squadron, while Pete Johnson led the Fast Attack Division. Major Amy Collins, now a general, controlled marine assault forces that numbered in the tens of thousands. Each ship carried the hopes of an entire species. Dr. Ross had developed humanity's ultimate weapons during the final months of preparation. Planet-killer missiles could crack worlds apart, while stellar compression bombs could trigger artificial supernovas that would consume entire star systems. The weapons violated every human moral code. But species survival justified any action. The strategy was audacious beyond anything previously attempted. Instead of waiting for War Marshal Vexcar invasion fleet to reach human space, the Armada would strike directly at the Zephyrian home systems. The aliens would be forced to defend their core worlds rather than attack human colonies. Intelligence, gathered from captured prisoners and destroyed bases, had revealed the location of Zeph Prime, the capital world of the alien empire. The planet supported 12 billion Zephyrians and served as the command center for military operations across dozens of star systems. The journey to Zephyrian space required 3 months of travel through unexplored regions of the galaxy. The fleet operated under total communication silence to avoid detection while moving through hyperspace routes that had never been mapped by human navigators. Captain Rick Davis, now commanding a squadron of scout ships, led advance reconnaissance missions that identified safe passage through alien patrol zones. His crews risked everything to gather intelligence on enemy positions while remaining undetected by superior alien sensor systems. Nina Grant's artificial intelligence programs coordinated the movement of 1,500 ships through space with precision that would have been impossible using human coordination alone. The fleet moved like a single organism guided by electronic thoughts that processed information faster than any human mind. Marcus Cole had refined his computer virus programs into weapons of mass digital destruction. The new versions could spread through entire alien communication networks within minutes, causing system failures that would cripple enemy fleets and planetary defenses. Simultaneously, the Armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Zeph Prime system to discover a civilization that spanned multiple worlds and supported billions of beings. Massive orbital installations surrounded the capital planet, while defensive fleets patrolled shipping lanes between industrial worlds. War Marshal Dexcar's home defense fleet numbered over 2,000 ships, each one larger and more heavily armed than the best human vessels. The Zephyrian commander had recalled forces from across the Empire to protect the core systems from humanity's expected retaliation. Admiral Fletcher divided the human armada into battle groups that approached the alien defenses from multiple directions. Stealth ships would penetrate planetary defenses, while battle cruisers engaged the enemy home fleet in massive ship-to-ship combat that would determine the war's outcome. The final battle began when human stealth ships reached the inner system and began deploying Marcus Cole's virus programs through the alien communication network. Zephyrian ships suddenly found their weapon systems failing while navigation computers provided incorrect information. General Amy Collins led ground assault teams against key installations on Zeph Prime's moons, while Captain Davis coordinated fighter squadron attacks against alien shipyards. The battle raged across multiple star systems as both sides committed everything to victory or death. Admiral Morrison's destroyer squadrons engaged the alien patrol fleets in running battles through asteroid fields and nebulae. Human ships used their superior mobility and coordination to defeat larger enemy vessels through tactics that emphasized speed and precision over brute force. The tide of battle turned when human planet-killer missiles penetrated the defenses around Zeph Prime's industrial worlds. The weapons cracked planetary crusts and boiled away oceans, creating scenes of destruction that matched what the aliens had done to Haven's Rest. Dr. Ross monitored the battle from the fleet's mobile command center, coordinating the deployment of stellar compression bombs against Zephyrian star systems. The weapons required perfect timing and positioning to trigger the nuclear reactions that would consume entire solar systems. War Marshal Vexcar led a desperate counterattack with his personal fleet, attempting to destroy the human flagship before the stellar weapons could be deployed. The alien commander proved as skilled and determined as his reputation suggested, but he faced enemies who had learned to fight with nothing to lose. The climax came when Admiral Fletcher made the ultimate sacrifice. She rammed the Unbreakable directly into the Zephyrian command fortress, while Dr. Ross simultaneously detonated stellar compression bombs around Zeph Prime's sun. The explosion created a chain reaction that consumed the capital star system within hours. The artificial supernovas, radiation, and gravitational waves spread outward at light speed, destroying everything within dozens of light years of the former Zephyrian capital. Admiral Morrison watched from the last stand as multiple alien star systems went dark. The compression bombs had triggered a cascade effect that caused several nearby stars to collapse or explode, creating a region of space that would remain deadly for thousands of years. The Zephyrian Empire died with their home systems. Alien fleets throughout the galaxy lost contact with their command structure, while civilian populations faced the reality that their entire civilization had been erased by the humans they had tried to exterminate. Some alien fleets surrendered, while others fled into deep space, becoming refugees in a galaxy that no longer had room for their imperial ambitions. The species that had destroyed dozens of other civilizations now faced extinction themselves. Captain Morrison, now the senior surviving officer, accepted the formal surrender of the remaining Zephyrian fleets aboard his battle-scarred destroyer. The alien commanders, who had once viewed humans as insects, now begged for mercy from the species they had tried to destroy. The war was over, but the cost had been staggering for both sides. Entire human colonies had been destroyed during the conflict, while Earth's population had been conscripted into military service. The moral weight of committing genocide against an entire civilization pressed heavily on the survivors. General Collins supervised the processing of millions of alien prisoners while establishing occupation forces on the few Zephyrian worlds that had survived the stellar bombardment. The defeated aliens would be relocated to reservation worlds where they could rebuild their shattered civilization under human oversight. Dr. Ross surveyed the devastation her weapons had created across dozens of star systems. The artificial supernovas had left regions of space uninhabitable for millennia, while the gravitational disruptions affected stellar formation patterns across hundreds of light years. The human armada began its long journey home, carrying news of total victory over the Zephyrian Empire. Only 300 ships survived the final battle, their hulls scarred by weapons fire, and their crews traumatized by the scale of destruction they had witnessed. President Bennett addressed the surviving human population from the ruins of the planetary capital, acknowledging that humanity had crossed a line from which there might be no return. The species had proven their capacity for survival, but they had also demonstrated their willingness to destroy entire civilizations. The returning fleet was welcomed as heroes on every human world, but the celebrations were muted by the knowledge of what had been necessary for victory. Children played in the shadows of memorial walls, listing the names of millions who had died defending humanity. Admiral Morrison stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital defense station, watching construction crews build new ships for exploration and colonization. The galaxy had learned that attacking humanity carried consequences that could literally blot out the stars. The few surviving Zephyrian scholars provided translations of their historical records, revealing that their empire had destroyed over 40 different species during their expansion across the galaxy. Humanity had ended a cycle of extinction that had lasted for thousands of years. New colonies were established on worlds abandoned by the Zephyrian Empire, while human scientists studied the ruins of alien civilizations that had been consumed before. Humanity learned to fight back. Each discovery reinforced the importance of strength in a hostile universe. The military maintained constant vigilance against other potential threats, while diplomatic missions contacted species that had hidden from the Zephyrian Empire. Humanity's reputation as destroyers preceded them, earning respect and fear in equal measure. Captain Davis, promoted to admiral, led exploration fleets into regions of space that had been controlled by the aliens for centuries. His ships carried weapons capable of destroying star systems and crews trained to use them without hesitation. The memorial on Haven's Rest was rebuilt on a world that had been restored to life, using Zephyrian terraforming technology. 3 million names covered walls of black stone while gardens grew where cities had been turned to glass by alien weapons. Children born after the war grew up in a universe where humanity stood among the apex predators of the galaxy. They learned mathematics and literature alongside weapons training and military history. Understanding that survival required both knowledge and strength, Dr. Ross established research stations throughout former Zephyrian space, studying the technology and science of a civilization that had spanned centuries. Her teams developed defenses against weapons that could threaten entire star systems. The galaxy had been fundamentally changed by humanity's rise to power. Species that had cowered in hiding for generations emerged to trade and communicate with the new dominant force, while others retreated further into unexplored regions of space. Admiral Morrison's final report to Earth Command was simple and direct. Humanity had proven they belonged among the stars and would defend that right against any threat, regardless of the cost in lives or worlds or entire civilizations. The stars themselves bore witness to humanity's transformation from peaceful explorers to galactic conquerors. In the space where the Zephyrian Empire once ruled, new human colonies spread across worlds that would remember forever the price of threatening the human species. The war had ended with humanity victorious, but the galaxy would never again be the peaceful place humans had once imagined. They had learned that survival in the universe required the willingness to destroy those who would destroy them, even if it meant making the stars themselves go dark.